Hopefully you haven't been sleeping under a rock, because the transfer portal sleeps for no one. The Virginia Tech Hokies came into the spring portal window with 88 scholarships, 3 over the 85 player limit. Now they sit at 83 with 2 available after the departure of offensive lineman Gabriel Arena, quarterback Dylan Whitkey, running back Traylon Mitchell, safety Antonio Cotman Jr., and linebacker Tavorian Copeland. So with those departures, leaves a couple spots for Coach Pry and the staff to go out there and try and fill some needs in this window. One guy of note that you might have heard throughout spring and even last winter is Ramon Brown. The Maryland transfer running back obviously has connections with Coach Elijah Brooks being his position coach at Maryland, and he's been up to Blacksburg a couple times on official visits this spring. So definitely an eye to keep on. After Bashal Tootin runs out of eligibility this year, that room gets very young, bringing a guy with 3 years of eligibility from Maryland. Now, grades were sort of an issue here, so we'll see how that plays out, but definitely a target for the Hokies, Ramon Brown. Moving right along, the quarterback, Colin Schlee from UCLA. Prior to last year at UCLA, played a couple of years at Kent State. Originally from Maryland, a very serviceable quarterback. 1 year of eligibility remaining, played sparingly last year, but he does have a visit scheduled for next weekend, April 27th, so we'll see how the staff is on him. Honestly, good serviceable guy to kind of fit with Dylan Whitkey moving on, sit there behind Kyron Drones with Pop Watson. Good experience to have in the room. Moving right along, the defensive end from Yale, Ezekiel Larry. I was speaking with him this morning. He doesn't have a visit set up yet. He has one May 3rd to the 5th out at San Diego State University, but he's working on setting one up at Tech. And defensive end, you think of Antoine Powell-Riley, Cole Nelson, Keyshawn Burgers, a pretty strong room, but after APR moves on this year, it gets pretty young behind them. So he's a guy with 2 years of experience, good, very serviceable at Yale a couple years, so we'll see. He's originally from California, so that might be an easier pull for SDSU to get him to come home, but we'll see if he eventually sets up a visit. Another guy of note at that safety position with the sort of relative inexperience, Mose Phillips, Jalen Jones, Jalen Stroman moving on. Caleb Spencer from Miami, a Liberty Christian Academy kid, originally from Gloucester, Virginia. He played in all 11 games, or played in 11 games last year, burned his red shirt, mostly on special teams, had only 1 tackle against Florida State. So definitely a guy, a local kid they might want to throw their hat at that safety position. Now moving right along to offensive line, kind of quiet here, but one name is Christopher Adams from ODU, originally from Maryland, plays offensive tackle. Now last year had an up and down year, but still any depth at that offensive line position is so needed for so many teams. So it's going to be hard to pick and choose guys to bring in to add competition to that room. And then lastly, Ayo Tafasi. This is also a guy like Ramon Brown we saw on the tracker last year. Defensive tackle who started his career at Florida State and then in last window committed to Georgia Tech. However, he recently re-entered after there was a coaching change at defensive tackle down at Georgia Tech. Virginia Tech originally made his final 3 in that first portal window, and it sounds like they've reached back out with an offer. So potentially, you know, you hear about the 3 transfers they brought in last window of Gilliam, Copeland, and Peebles, but those guys are all older. So to add some depth behind them with take a flyer on Tafasi might be something possible. So as I mentioned prior, the Hokies currently sit 2 below the limit, and the portal window closes on May 1st. So you got to be in the portal by May 1st if you're looking to enter, but you know, commitments can happen after that. So that's a little bit of a transfer tracker rundown. Make sure to stay tuned into vtscoop.com for all the updates regarding the Virginia Tech Hokies in the spring transfer portal window. I'm Colby Crawford, signing out.